So this is the discussion for Module 3 entitled Security Controls and Protecting Systems Using Antivirus. So in this module, we are to look at different types of controls, compare and contrast them, know about layered security and reference architecture, look into some of the security frameworks that are out there, look into the incident response procedures, and later in this module also you'll have laboratory activity where you deal with you look into the features of an antivirus software. So organizations usually has framework, okay, a service framework, an IT service framework, and in this framework, this is where best practices guide in implementing IT and cybersecurity is laid down, okay, and one measures you may see in uh, in the uh, in the guidelines that an organizations may have conforming to the framework that they've used are security controls. Okay. Uh, Definitely, an organization should lay down effective security controls. Security control is designed to make a particular asset or information system secure. So I have here a list of different security control types. We start with administrative. A control type is classified under administrative if it is mandated by an organization. Say if there is a security policy or guideline set by the organization, these are classified under as administrative. Example, let's say in the policy or guidelines of an organization, they mention that there should be a risk assessment. Okay, there's a risk assessment guidelines to manage the risk. Okay, by definition, a risk assessment is as a type of assessment that helps quantify qualify risk in an organization. Okay, so that's under administrative. Another is vulnerability assessment. We will explore more of the on the vulnerability assessment in penetration testing. That's in the second course of this track. Okay. By definition, vulnerability assessment is the attempt to discover current vulnerabilities. There are tools used to conduct this. We will explore this. We will explore in these tools. Uh, some of it will have it here. Then most are in penetration testing. Okay. So other terms for administrative is organizational control, okay, or management control. Um, other method or means under administrative is, say, if an organization conducts a security awareness training, also having a security guard, imposing a security guard, uh, and having a change management policy. Technical controls is a type of control where it uses technology to reduce vulnerabilities. Example, installing an antivirus software, implementing or setting up an encryption in a system, having an IDS, intrusion detection system, and an IPS, or an IPS, intrusion prevention system, or a firewall. These are under technical controls. Physical is where you have a hardware. You impose a hardware, alarm, a gateway, like a router, a cable lock, okay? Um, there. So, router with security features. So, uh, of course, enabled. These are under physical controls. Preventive is an attempt to prevent security incidents, sample implementing a system hardening. What we mean by system hardening or hardening the system is you've set up, configured your system, your operating system to make it secure. Okay. Uh, Example, enabling the host-based firewall. Uh, There. Okay. Or setting up the browser, we'll have an activity on that to make it secure. We'll have an activity of that on that as we go along. Okay. So those are under preventive. Change management is also under preventive. Security guard is also preventive. Example, let's say, okay, we need to we need to we need to have a security guard in this area at this time. Okay, because when an attacker would see that there's a security guard, so it would have second thoughts of intruding the premise, right? So with that, it's a preventive measure. It's considered as a preventive measure. Okay. Other security control types are deterrent. In deterrent, there's you impose a security controls to discourage a threat. Okay. Example, let's say, take note, like example, in an organization, we have this uh, policy. And inside the policy, security policy, if there are any violations, we impose penalty. Okay. So that's under deterrent. Because if we're not going to impose penalty, okay, with the violation, imposing a penalty in the violation somehow, it discourages uh, the intruder, the attacker, to uh, conduct the threat, okay, the or to violate with with the policy, okay. Um, other There are physical security controls that are used to deter threats. Example, cable locks and hardware locks. Okay. Next is detective controls. Detective controls are the type of controls that detects vulnerabilities. Okay. If a system has been exploited, okay. So example of these are log monitoring, right? It can detect if there are any unsuspicious behavior in the transmission or in a given system. Also security audit, camera, right? Video camera can detect any types of threat. Also motion detection. Corrective are the one that can reverse the impact of an incident. There's like IPS, intrusion prevention system. Okay, it has the ability to correct. An intrusion prevention system can say if it detects any types of attack, it can automatically block that. Okay, so in a way that the system will not be damaged. Aside from that, we also have backup, system recovery. These are all under corrective controls. Compensating are alternative controls. So instead of, it is used instead of the primary controls. Example, let's say there is an employee and the new employee, and the policy is that all employees should have a smart card. It takes time to process the smart card. So what the organization will do is to temporarily give him or her, that new employee, a time-based one-time password. So the time-based one-time password is sort of a compensating control. Okay, it is used as an alternative. Okay, so example, like with us, when we register to a system, we are given a temporary username password, right? That's an alternative for us because they need to do some validation first before they give you a permanent username and password. So the temporary account is under a uh, compensating control. Okay, so next.